All right, now we're going to script the health bar object, and we're going to turn it into a prefab. Before we do that, select health points text, HP text, and we want to anchor it. I don't know what I did there. Control Z. Okay, we want to anchor HP text. So in the inspector, click on Anchor Presets in the rect transform of HP text, and we want to make it, let's see, we want to make it bottom left. And don't hold Alt, because that would change the position. We just want to select that as the rect transform anchor. All right, so that's good. Save. Now let's turn our attention to some scripting. So if you go to the folder from the instructor's resources, you'll see that we have some updates to scripts we already have, and we have some new scripts. So the first thing I'm going to do is drag the new scripts over. So slot is new, inventory, hit points goes into scriptable objects, so we'll leave that for now. Health bar is new, so those three will drag over into mono behaviors. All right, so we see health bar, inventory, and slot. I'm going to bring slot up in Visual Studio just to make sure it's a mono behavior and not a scriptable object. Okay, slot is a mono behavior, so it's in the right place. Let's go back to Unity. Now, the scripts that are being upgraded, meaning there's more code being added for additional functionality, which is player and character. So in that case, we don't want to just drag them over because it'll create a differently named script and break the game. So what we want to do there is we'll start with character. Just double click it. It'll bring character up. Basically, character, we're adding hit points, that functionality. So I'm going to do a Control A in the new character, Control C for copy. Then go over to the old character, Control A, Control V, and that is effectively updates the existing character. Then I'm going to close out to see that they're equivalent. That looks fine. Close out that one that it's in the resources directory, and now the other one is player. Same exercise, double click player. Now we have two players. Control A in Visual Studio to select all the text. Control C for copy. Go to the existing player. Control A, Control V, and save. And go to the player in the resources and delete it. Okay, so now we've upgraded those scripts. And if we go back to Unity and click, say, player object, and we should see that the player script has been updated with hit points functionality. Okay, now we're going to, on the health bar object, we're going to add the health bar script. Okay, we want to drag. So with the health bar object selected, we want to drag the health bar script that we just copied over and add that as a component. Oops, complaining about something. Let's see. We missed copying the hit point scriptable object. So let's go back to our folder and find hit points, select hit points. Drag that over to the scriptable objects folder under scripts. Now, in this case, we actually want to create the object. So we want to right click on HP points, and we should see under create a hit point selection. And so we're going to select that, and then we're going to name that scriptable object instance just hit points. Okay, now we should be able to copy the health bar script and make it a component. And before we do any configuration, let's make health bar object. Let's operate on the prefab. So drag health bar object over into prefabs. Okay. And I'm going to edit the prefab and configure the health bar script. So the first thing we need is the scriptable object instance hit points. All right, so we go over into scriptable objects, we find hit points, and we drag that over into the health bar script. Then we want to drill under the health bar object to the different components. We want to drag the meter image over because we're going to be controlling that. So drag the meter image over and drag the HP health point text component over. And since we've operating on the prefab, we don't have to apply anything, so that looks good. Okay, so let's go back. Save. Go back to our scene. Okay, so now we want to revise our player object. We also want to drag that hit point scriptable object instance over. All right, that's good. I think we make starting hit point 6, max hit points 10. I'll double check that. Okay, then the health bar prefab, we don't have inventory yet. Health bar prefab, we're going to drag that over from prefabs. And that looks good. Make sure we save changes back to the player object prefab. I'm going to save the game here, Control S. Okay, now one more thing we have to do before we test this is go into Visual Studio, and at this point we haven't done anything with inventory. So player.cs, this code will not work. So in the start method, just comment out the instantiation of the inventory prefab and save that. And that means that player now is instantiating the health bar prefab. So back in Unity, it means we can delete the entire health bar object. Save the game. Let's just move that heart to a little bit better position. Heart object. W, move tool, let's just bring that up later. Here. Okay. Now when we play the game, players should instantiate our health bar object. It does, we see it up there. And as we move the player over to consume the heart, we can see that the health points go up, which is what we want. And that seems to be working. So we will stop there for this video and go on, continue in the next